Winning this trade on Apple was just as easy as identifying a 1, 2, 3 movement, but luckily, thanks to our indicators, I clearly saw it and I was able to exploit the opportunity. So in this video, I'm going to explain you how I was able to identify the setup and make a great profit out of it. Let's go back to the beginning of the trade and let me explain you step by step the analysis that I made. Today I'm on Apple, so I'm looking at the 15 minutes time frame and I'm using the bottom top signal indicator, the levels and zones indicator, and the RSI Exhaustion indicator. If you want to test them yourself, you find the link in the description down below. You can find these three indicators along with more indicators for you to test, of course. So what I'm looking at is this uptrend that we got recently on Apple, and I'm expecting the same to happen in the future, in the coming future, because I see that I already discussed this strategy in the past in another video at least, but I have more in the past, so you can look through, but I'll try to link one video, at least one video talking about this, but I'll try to repeat it again here. So what I'm looking is for another upward movement about the same size of this one. So you see we have one movement, then a retracement, and then another movement to the upside about terminating about here. Why do I expect this? Well, first of all, on a macro analysis, doing some macro analysis, we can see that we are in an uptrend. So we recently got a little bit of downtrend movement, but it's basically a downtrend, uptrend, sorry. So what happened is that we got a bottom here. You see the bottom. This is given by the bottom stop signal. And the RSI Exhaustion was also oversold and exhausted as well. Then we got some tops, but the most important thing is that we got an uptrend here and the RSI which went exhausted again, but on the opposite side, so bullish exhausted, and it also went overbought. This is not always the case, but it is nice to have it overbought around this area here. And then we have a retracement and a second bottom which is higher than the previous one, and we have the RSI which is again exhausted. Okay, in this case is bearish exhausted. So as you can see, we have an uptrend in the price. Okay, so let me cancel this. We have an uptrend in the price, and the same uptrend is sustained by the upward movement of the RSI. Then we have a second bottom which happens to be higher than the previous one, and this is particularly high. Around the same bottom we also have exhaustion, so the RSI is exhausted, and luckily for us in this case it was also exhausted around this bottom here, see? Okay, so this is the trade, that's it, it's very simple. So we have a higher bottom, we have the RSI Exhaustion which is confirming that the uptrend is sustained, we have it saying that it's exhausted here, it was exhausted back there, so it's all good. We can expect, we know from the past experience that once we have this kind of setup, we can expect the same length of this first movement to be projected in the future. So our target is going to be, let me draw this for you. So our entry price is going to be around here. The stop loss, of course, we need to stay lower than the last, the most recent lowest point. So I guess this might work. Let's see where we end up with the target. The target goes all the way up here. Okay, so our risk reward is 2.77, so it's almost a 3x return if we get it right. Given our analysis, I'm very confident that we will get to this level. The only concerning thing that I have is that we have a major resistance here. This might pose some problem in the future of the trade because usually when you have resistances or supports given by the levels and zones, these are major resistances or support. The good thing that I see is that the price, when you have a level, like in this case a resistance, while the price is actually attracted by this level, because you know from the technical analysis theory that when there are levels like support and resistances, the price always tests them, so they always get visited by the price. And so in this case, since we are expecting an upward movement, it is like the resistance line is attracting the price. So I'm expecting an upward movement at least until this level, but I'm very confident that we will reach our target, because when I see this kind of setup, I trade them not frequently, but when I see them and they are very good, like in this case, I trade them. And when I trade them, I'm always right, like a very percentage of the times I'm right, because it is always the same. It's always the same. The market always behaves the same. Okay, so the trade is placed also in my trading account, and I can update you guys as the trade goes along. So a quick update for you guys. Quite a lot have happened since the trade started. Sorry for not updating before, but let's see what happens. So the point, let me cancel this trend line here. So what happened is that the price went higher and higher until it reached this resistance line. As I was expecting, this is a major resistance, so it might create some problems, and in fact it is creating some problem. But I see that the RSI is moving higher, so this is encouraging. What I like to see is, of course, the price to break above this resistance line and stay above for quite some times, not just like going like up straight up. Well, of course I would like, and if it does, I'm super happy, but even if it breaks up and stays above the resistance, so it becomes a support for quite some time, then it would be better, and in that case I will move my stop loss to break even. Right now I cannot move my stop loss to break even because the price could well come back down. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I only move my stop loss to break even only if I'm sure that the price, or I'm very confident that the price will not come back down, because if it does, well, I mean, we still need to give some room to move to this price. I know we are higher than we were when we entered the trade, but basically it's like we just started the trade, because the price hasn't made its move yet. So it's upward movement is something that must still happen. Hopefully it will happen, because our technical analysis is correct. The analysis that we made here is absolutely 100% correct, and every time there are this kind of setup with a 1, 2, 3 movement, it is very likely that the price reaches the target. So I still see this as an upward movement. As I said in the first part of the video, of course this is going to create some problems with this trade, but I don't expect it will compromise the final output. Let's see what happens next. So the price has moved further, but it moved slightly above the resistance for 3 candles, but then it went straight down and with the top. I'm not concerned about this top, I'm just concerned about the fact that this resistance is very strong, so the price is finding quite hard to push through. But the RSI is still moving higher, so the whole initial idea or our analysis is correct, still correct, because the price movement is still supported by the overall technical movements that are taking place. Of course, as I said before, I'd like to see the price to move higher beyond this resistance so that it turns into a support and stay above this new support for quite some time, so that I can move my stop loss to break even. Right now I'm not yet to break even because the price is still in a kind of a danger zone. It's pretty much like we just enter into the trade, so we must be patient. Maybe it will turn out to be a losing trade, I don't know. If it happens, it happens. Sometimes it happens, but when there are some kind of setups, the vast majority of the times you end up with a winning trade. So, and if this is going to be a winning trade, it's going to be an interesting one, because it's almost a 3x return, so it's definitely worth waiting and sticking to our rational initial analysis. I'll keep you posted, guys. So there are two main things to point out here. The first one is this kind of price action here. Do you see it went all the way back to our entry price, slightly south of our entry price, and then it moved higher. What if we moved our stop loss here? We would have been stopped, I mean, with a tiny profit, so at break even, but we would have been stopped. So right now we will not be sitting in a higher profit. Let me extend this for you. Okay, so right now we are up here. So if I would have moved my stop loss to break even before, I would have been stopped at break even. So I would have not losing the money, but I would have compromised the likely outcome of this trade. It's hard to know when to move the stop loss to break even, but with time you learn when to do it. And right now it's an excellent time to do it, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second. But the point is that, well, actually my trading account already did it, so it's around this level here. But the point is that if you move the stop loss too early, like the price is here, and you know you have a resistance up here which could stop the price from rising and making the upward movement more difficult, you are aware of the fact that the price might well come back at least to your entry level. And this is exactly what happened. So if you see the price just going to test this resistance and you move the stop loss, you are doing it wrong, because you know that you might end up getting stopped, still at break even. It's okay, you don't lose money, but you are missing the opportunity probably. So with time you learn when to, with time and experience, of course, the more you trade, the more you understand, but with time and experience you learn when to move the stop loss to break even to make entirely safe trades. The second thing that I like to point out here, and this is why I also moved my stop loss to break even, and the reason why I'm very confident that quite soon we will reach the target, is that not only this resistance became a support, as you can see here it's green, but a new support just below this one has appeared. So we are now sitting in an upward trend, of course in a trade where we are expecting the price will move higher, and we are sitting in an upward trend, and we are sitting above two supports, and these are going to be two major supports. So if the price wants to come down, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very hard because it must break two very strong supports. So what appeared to be kind of a difficult trade, because we had this resistance here, has now turned into a very likely profitable trade. And as I said in the initial part of this video, when you have this kind of setups like a 1, 2, 3 movement, then the chances that you get to your target are very high. Of course, you have to have everything right with the indicators, but the chances are very high. Of course, it's not over, so it's not over, but I'm very confident. I'll keep you posted, of course. And we are done with this trade. We are now a return of almost 3x, because the trade is over and we got to our target. What happened is that we got two tops here. I'm really not concerned about these tops, because yeah, the price was going a little bit higher and the RSI was going a little bit lower, so we had some slight divergence here. But the point is that of course the outlook was to the upside, and we were also, as I said before, sitting above two major supports. So I was not guessing that these were actual tops, and they proved to be in fact like I mean, not false signals, but very weak signals, and you should not trade this kind of signals when you compare these three indicators. So the bottom stop signal, the RSI Exhaustion, and in this case what made the difference was the levels and zones. You can clearly see that these signals should not be traded, because the movement is to the upside. And we got it, and we got our money so that our trading account can keep growing. So guys, I hope you liked the video. If you have any question, feel free to ask down below. If you enjoyed the video, of course, like it to support the channel, and subscribe if you didn't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one.